Good morning to the leader in you. This is Catherine, your host. We are back for another episode. And today we are talking about personal development, how we as a leader need to grow inside out, and how our leadership ability is directly connected to how we are improving ourselves, improving areas that can enrich our life, which will be a spillover, and how it will have a positive impact on those that are a part of our company, organization, and team. So when we think about personal development, it covers anything that deals with improving your self-awareness of who you are, improving who you are and operating from an authentic space. A lot of times people may ask the question, well, who are you? And sometimes you may sit and ponder, well, what type of leader am I? You may even question yourself, how do I identify myself as a leader, and what type of leadership characteristics do I give off to my team? We have to develop those untapped potential areas in our lives. Those are the areas that we can grow in. Those are the areas that we can build in. All of us have areas in our life where we have untapped potential. And when we have untapped potential, that means we are underutilizing our skills and abilities to move forward in life, to move forward in our leadership capacity, to move forward and grow our businesses, because we are not utilizing every single ability that we have, that we've been fortified with, that we've been equipped with, right? So what type of quality of life could you have if you started to tap into those untapped potential and actually start to use it? What type of life would your community have? Or how could you help transform your community? What would it look like? All those dreams that we have, all those aspirations that we have, a lot of times are held up because we don't do one thing. We don't grow. Personal development is always put in and put on the back burner. So when we think about personal development, it touches so many areas. Our mental, our spiritual, our physical, right? How are we balancing out our everyday life? How are we balancing out the things that we have to maintain, things that we have charge over, and still grow personally? You know, a lot of times we stunt our own growth because we don't take that much needed time to educate ourselves, educate us on areas that we may not be fully versed in. I know one thing I'm doing right now, I'm taking up a lot of online courses and classes, educating myself in other areas of business, other areas in how to be more financially literate, right? We are in a day and age that there's no reason why we cannot grow because there's too much information at our fingertips. But what we have to do is take the time, take the initiative to listen, to read, to sign up for courses that can educate us. Let me tell you something, beyond high school, beyond college, beyond that degree, beyond that master's, do we self-educate? Do we pick up books on a monthly basis? Are we looking at videos, tutorials that can educate us? What are we doing to continue to grow ourselves? Because I tell you, a lot of times people say their business isn't growing. I will ask you, do you feel you're growing personally? Because if you're not growing personally, your business probably is not growing either. Because our business is a reflection of who we are. And sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow, and we like to point the finger at everyone else as to why our business isn't growing. But a lot of times our business is not growing because we are not growing. Every moment of one existence, one is growing into more or retreating into less. That's a quote that I saw. I'm going to say it again. Every moment of one's existence, one is growing into more or retreating into less. Are we growing? Or are we retreating? That's a question we all have to ask ourselves. No one can answer it for you. We must develop our talents, and those untapped potential must be cultivated because it does what? It builds. It builds your business. It builds a community. It builds your family, right? And so when we enhance our life, ultimately those that are connected to us, their lives will be enhanced as well. And we hope to unlock their dreams. There's another quote that says, you cannot dream yourself into a character. You must hammer and forge yourself into one. When I saw that, I thought that was so profound. I'm going to say it again. You cannot dream yourself into a character. In other words, we can't just lay around and just say, I hope one day I'll grow into this type of person, or I'll be able to achieve X, Y, Z. It says you can't dream yourself into a character. You must hammer and forge yourself into one. In other words, that's action. When you look at the word hammer and forge, those are two action words. What action are you taking place in your life right now? What action? For those of you that may not know, I just released a new ebook called 7 Days. 7 Days, How to Manifest Your Dreams in 7 Days. 7 days was on me because a lot of times people waste time. People waste an entire week. And when I think about businesses and people and how people sometimes can get disgruntled at the end of the year, and they say, oh, where did the year go? It all goes back to the core 7 days. Because if we let a week go by, it turns into 2 weeks, it turns into a month, it turns into a quarter, and ultimately it turns into a whole year. So that is why I'm so hard on what did you do the past 7 days? Check it off the list. Now it's a new week. This is it's a new week. What are we going to do with this week? Give your day an assignment. For those that listen to a lot of the podcasts that I do, I always talk about give your day an assignment. And if you let 7 days get away, 2 weeks is going to get away. A month is going to get away. A quarter is going to get away. And your year will get away. And you'll look at yourself December 2020 and say, what happened this year? What distractions did I allow come my pathway? But you don't have to allow those distractions to hinder you. It is hard. It is difficult. There's so many things that go on in our personal life, in our communities, and everything. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, what do I tend to first? Sometimes we can get paralyzed. I get it. I've been there. What do I tend to first? But the thing is, you have to make sure you're balancing yourself with your personal time, your spiritual time, your physical time. Health and wellness is so key. How are we balancing out everything we need to do? And again, I have not arrived. I'm still working on that. I'm still perfecting that. I'm still trying to get to a place that it makes sense. But one thing I will not allow myself to get into a state that I'm just stagnant. I will not allow myself to get stuck. Even on days that I've had challenging days. Yes, I have had challenging days. I have had moments where I just didn't want to do anything. But at the end of the day, I had to say, Catherine, you need to pull yourself up. You need to get back in the game. The day is still here for you. The sun is still up. And while the sun is still up, you need to get up and get at that computer and go to work. Sometimes we have to talk to ourselves. Sometimes it's not anyone else that's going to be able to talk to us. When's the last time you talked and spoke life to yourself? When is the last time you gave yourself a pep talk? Sometimes we're giving all these other people a pep talk. But when's the last time you gave yourself a pep talk and you actually took in what you said to yourself and then you acted upon it, right? There's another quote that I saw, and it says, life is growth. And this is a really, short quote. It says, life is growth. In other words, if we're not growing, we are dying. If we're not growing, then we are stagnant. If we're not growing, we're not doing anything. We're just stagnant. Now, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying that there aren't times when we need to have a break and pause and rejuvenate ourselves. Yes, we need to have that. But sometimes people get stuck so much to the point that they're not growing at all. I mean, there could be years that go by and someone said, well, back in 19, so-and-so and so-and-so happened, and I just got stuck. And now we're in 2020. And I ask myself, how do we get unstuck? My goal with this show, Good Morning to the Leader in You, is to wake people up. Is to say, you know what, good morning to the leader in you. So some things I may say may be jolting. Some things I say may come off maybe abrasive, but it is meant to awaken that leader in you. I know because I've been in a season of my life where I was not walking in my leadership capacity. I had the blinders on. I was in depression. There were so many things going on. And so this is why I'm so passionate about walking in who you are, because when you get stuck, it's hard to get unstuck. But there was a leader that spoke life to me. And he told me that this is not who I am. And so when I received those words, I had to activate who I was. And so I'm hoping some of you that's listening right now, activate who you are. Because wallowing in self-pity is not where it's at for a leader. You don't have the luxury to wallow in self-pity. Do you need to take some downtime and break and rejuvenate? Absolutely, yes. But you do not have the luxury to wallow in self-pity. Life is growth. What is growing around you, or are things dying around you? Take an assessment. Yes, it's going to be hard to take a look at it, but look at it. Look at your finances. Is your finances growing? If the answer is no, why is your finances not growing? What type of financial habits are hindering you to have financial growth? Are you growing in your health? Is your health up to par? If not, if you're always sick and something's going on, well, what's going on with that? Mentally, are we always depressed? Are we always walking in anxiety? Are we always walking in whatever? Are we always walking with headaches? What's going on? Why is that? Why is this happening? Sometimes we got to go to the root of it. Sometimes going to the root of it is not pretty. I would have headaches all the time, and I had to realize my headaches was coming from stress. The stress was causing my blood pressure to raise. So you know what? I had to switch the flip. I had to switch everything around. Because at the end of the day, I cannot be fully functioning if I'm constantly in pain with headaches. I cannot be fully functioning if my blood pressure is high. And so I had to check areas of my life. Okay, why is this happening? And we all have to ask ourselves that. Why is this happening to me? And some things we can definitely close the chapter on. Sometimes we just can't even entertain certain things that's so opposing to who we are and opposing to our personal mission for our life. But sometimes we entertain those things, and that is why we are drained. That is why we are not productive, because we don't understand that we need to continue to move forward despite the odds that's stacked against us. And we have to eliminate anything that's toxic. One of the things as we continue to build as a leader, we must walk in our confidence. Walk in our confidence and listen to yourself. Sometimes we listen to all the naysayers and we're not even listening to our own internal voice. Start listening to yourself. Start improving your body language. In other words, when you're in a meeting, your verbal communication is so key. Sometimes we say, well, I don't know why I didn't land that deal. I'm not sure why I'm not making these healthy connections at these networking functions. What is your body language saying? When you walk in that room, and I know right now because of COVID-19, a lot of physical networking events have diminished a little bit, but reflect on when you was going to those networking functions. What was your body language like? And you know, when things shift, we're going to be back going to physical networking events. What is your posture? What does your posture convey to the people in the room? Does it convey confidence? Does it convey perseverance? Or does it convey, this person is a little uncertain about themselves? Right? Stop procrastinating. When we talk about growing and personal development, we cannot procrastinate. We cannot continue to put things off. Procrastination can turn into a habit if we allow it to, right? One of the things that you can stop procrastination on is waking up early and start your day early. Wake up early and get at it. Be more productive, right? Master the art of conflict resolution. I want to talk about this because as a business owner and as a leader, there's going to be conflict. We cannot get away from it. It's just a part of the package, right? Conflict is going to be there. The key is to develop the skill of conflict resolution. If you possess the ability to resolve conflicts in a rational way that will turn the hand of that whole situation, right? That is the mark of a leader. When you see a conflict, either you're a part of it, maybe somebody asks you to be, a person to come to that situation and kind of diffuse it, whatever the case may be. Do you have the skills, or are you sharpening your skills to handle conflict and to resolve things in a rational way? We all have to grow in this area. This is the area that I'm yet growing in. And as we continue to grow, we start to let go of old habits. We start to let go of old traits that no longer serve us, no longer serve the business, right? We become more resilient, right? And we're able to manage different things that come to us, because as a leader, sometimes things can get stressful. Then we're able to manage effectively so the stress will not have physical impacts on our body. We have to ignore if someone says, hey, there's limitations, you can't exceed, you can't go here. Guess what? No, I'm going to ignore those limitations you're trying to put on myself, and I'm going to exceed every limitation that you say is a reality for me, because that's not my reality. That's your reality, right? One of the things we have to do is make sure that we're more mindful about all of our actions and make healthy, guided decisions, right? And ultimately, we're going to grow in the end. So I wanted to come on today just to start talking about personal development. This is not a new topic or something like that, but it's something I feel right now needs to be discussed, because we must grow, we must develop into who we are to become and not stay stagnant. Again, go to my website, www.catherinetrotter.com. You can click on 7 days. I also have a webinar that's coming up. It's not too late to register for that. All those that register for that will get a complimentary copy of my latest ebook, 7 Days How to Manifest Your Dreams. And so I want to connect and collaborate with you. If you're a business owner that needs someone to help build, send me an email, ct@katherinetrotter.com. I would love to work with you. And as I always like to say, as I close out one of my episodes, I'm going to see you at the top. And the reason why I say that, because you have to visualize yourself there. I see you there. Meet me at the top. We're going to go together to the top. And I tell you what, there's nothing going to stop you. There's nothing that's going to stop me, because our eyes are fixed on where we need to go. I'm going to play some music like always. As I play this music, I just want you to reflect on areas of your life that you feel you need to grow and personally grow. Not pointing fingers at others. How do I need to personally grow as a leader in my business and in my community? See everyone at the top.